So my name is Craig Langhouse. I work with Sugarcreek. It's a bacon manufacturer in Ohio. We have plants in Kansas. CCI is in Cambridge City, Indiana. So we do raw bacon. We do cooked bacon. I gotta stay right here. We do formed proteins, so we're food manufacturing. I'll go up. I don't like this podium. So what I'm going to discuss today is not data collection. It is data collection, but I want to really talk about implementing a performance system that I think you need to do to reinforce the data collection systems and all the work you're doing. We use inductive automation, ignition, and this is our 4th year coming down here. And I mean, we use it. We use it a lot, and I've used it a lot in the last 3 years. My title was Director of Continuous Improvement, so I was utilizing the tools through inductive automation and ignition, and I'm really the end user. So Sugarcreek is an end user, I'm the end user because I take all of that information, I'm delivering it to the masses, I'm training all the employees how to read the data, how to use the data, how to make changes. So we're developing a performance system, and everything I'm integrating in this performance system is going to use that data collection. So that's what I want to discuss today. So I was tasked with developing a performance system to sustain really everything that we are building and developing through this data collection. So I need to trump it up, right? I need a sales pitch, I need a platform, I need to really sell this thing. So first thing we did was create a motto. So our performance system motto is success starts when our actions become greater than our excuses. So as I travel the plants and I talk to employees, these are actually things I heard people say. So these are things that I'm talking to plant managers, I'm talking to people in the plants. Well, that line has always ran that speed. We have always dealt with leakers. We have always had ice chunks and meatball blends, and we have always struggled with belly temperatures. We have no control of our suppliers. They won't take the line down let us PM. So we have a lot of built-in excuses in our plants. And it's really, we need to utilize a performance system to drive that out of the plants and make sure that everybody realizes you can improve. We will knock out these excuses. So these are just built-in excuses. So thus, development of a performance system. So our owner has always had a vision, he likes flying planes, to run the plant like flying a plane, using the gauges, using the instrumentation, and we have built-in ignition in our plant to really help do that. But you have to develop and implement a performance system to sustain these results. Otherwise, people don't like change. They want to go back to easy. So again, I'm selling this to the company. I'm selling it to every employee on the floor. So I also wanted to keep it simple. A performance system can get so complicated, and doing continuous improvement projects can be so tasking and overcomplicated, fish bones and YY analysis and countermeasure scorecards. And sometimes you get so lost in fitting the project into the tool, you just ignore the simple solutions to the problems. So the first thing we talk about is, zero-based analysis. So our company has historically been, they live off of bill of materials. So they talk about bill of materials, they talk about budgeting at the end of the year. And if you're a plant manager, you always try to get a easy budget on certain pieces of equipment that you struggle on. So zero-based analysis was our first thing we wanted to start delivering. And that alone got us so much improvement just by getting people to think, hey, your bomb standard may be X%, but the machine can go 50% faster. You can run faster. But they get so comfortable in the fact that, hey, I'm making money. They ignore some of those other areas where they could improve. Abundant thinking is a principle that floats all throughout this. So we want to identify all the abundant thinkers in our company, people who think they can do more, people who think they can solve problems. So Dan's an abundant thinker, I'm an abundant thinker, the owner's an abundant thinker, and we live in all of these principles. We're moving. We're not just concentrating on zero-based analysis. We're not starting with zero-based analysis and waiting until we get that completed to go to the next step. We're going to work in all of these areas as we develop it. So we're trying to develop a simple performance system over time. And we didn't wait. Like I said, we started working in all of these different principles and all these different layers. We had to get review and response integrated. We had to get zero-based analysis, educate the entire company. We had to identify abundant thinkers. We had to let them know you can do more. Using simple plan, do, check, act tools to solve problems. So we're moving, we're grooving, we're getting it done. So the reason zero-based analysis is so important is this is just a good illustration of what I mentioned about bombs and why some companies are so in love with bombs they ignore all of the easy opportunity. So zero-based analysis is just quantifying current performance against perfection. So where are you currently at? Where's perfect? Everything in between is opportunity. So this is an illustration of how that can affect. So say you have line A, line B, and line C in your facility, and you historically have just tanked it on line A. You did okay on line B, and you smoked it on line C. So a good plant manager will negotiate and try to get an easy standard set on the line that he's struggling on. And then maybe he'll get a break on the line he was average on, and then maybe he gets challenged on the other line, and they say, hey, you run that well, give us 5% more, which in our company happens all the time. So the only problem with that is when you go to renegotiate at the end of the first quarter, and you say, hey, we did 10% better than budget on line A, and everybody congratulates you. Thank you, you made money. Line B, we coasted in at the rate in the bomb. Okay, but we missed by 10% on line C, but we smoked it. We ran 70%. So everybody in the company is going to go rushing to line 6 or line C, and they're going to say, hey, what's going on line C? And we're going to waste all of our resources chasing that 10% where we actually did perform pretty well, and we're going to ignore the 60% opportunity on line A. We're going to ignore the 50% opportunity on B because everybody's running to line C because looks like we failed. So while utilizing ignition and all the tools that we're developing, this was what we saw. This was what we saw on every plant, on every line. We had an average of 15 to 20% throughput improvement on every line. And it was just addressing zero-based analysis, identifying downtime, having a daily review and response, going after it every day, every day, every day. This is easy. This always happens. This is what will happen when you start talking about that stuff. But then that happens because now you're doing the day-to-day activity. It's getting harder. It's getting harder. You don't have enough abundant thinkers in the plant or in the company to go after all those harder solutions. Now it's not just addressing downtime. Now you're going after projects. So now we're going to go to the next level of our performance system. And it happened in Dayton, happened in every plant. They're good, but it's hard. And it's a lot of work every day. You do the same thing every day, daily review and response. So now we're starting to get some tools, simple OIP projects that we're going to get to all the plants, starting in Dayton. And then Dayton did another shift. So after the day-to-day activity becomes difficult and it's not working anymore, not driving more improvement, then we started doing weekly and monthly reviews. More intense downtime analysis, trending. Where are we struggling? Where are we struggling? Identifying the loss, putting complexity and value to it, and then going after the low-hanging fruits. So there's still low-hanging fruit there, and Dayton is doing some projects. They have another spike. So that's what the performance system is really all about. The first step is the daily improvements. The daily improvements are driven by the daily review and response, which you're discussing rates, you're discussing downtime, you're assigning action items, you're fixing problems. The next one is weekly improvement. After you get stagnant on the daily, then you start talking weekly improvements in which you're addressing longer trends. You're identifying loss. You're putting that on a radar map and you're going after it. And then once that gets stagnant, just like Dayton is going to do here shortly, then we'll have to go to annual trends. And then we'll probably have to get capital, and we'll probably have to get the Engineering team, automation, that's the next layer. I threw some stats in here this was a manager's meeting presentation I did, and I wanted to shock and awe them with the numbers. So in our facilities, on average, 1 minute of downtime is valued at anywhere from $3 to $5. So every 1 minute on any line is valued at $3 to $5. Sorry. It didn't work. And this is another example. In Dayton, in the month of November, we ran 82,984,582 slices of pre-cooked bacon. They had 12,200 minutes of downtime spread across 6 manufacturing lines. The downtime reflects $4.5 million worth of opportunity. So every 1% of downtime reduction could have saved that plant, real money, $450,000. It's actually probably more than that. So how have we done so far? Just in all of this, implementing the performance system, analyzing the data, using the data. So 5 different locations, average 15% improvement in the first 12 months. Not necessarily each plant, but in every plant we went, the first 12 months, 15 to 20%. The improvements, every 1% for the plants is $1 million annualized, probably more. So we estimate that in 1 year we've probably saved the company $15 to $30 million. Real money, we know it's happening. So now we're going to utilize our data collection system, we're going to utilize Ignition, and we're going to develop other tools. So now I'm going to start layering in another layer of that performance system. I'm going to get deeper in the weeds. We're going to go dig deeper. So I have Dan's team is developing radar maps, to which we have loss lists where I travel the plants. We talk about that monthly trend. Where do you guys see loss? Where do you see opportunity? We develop a simple tool to calculate complexity so that the goal is to get every plant doing the same thing every day, whether it's the review and response, whether it's the tools they're using to identify opportunity. So you can see you could take 3 years to develop a performance system, not get started. What we're doing is developing it as we go. And then I just threw in some other dashboards that we want to develop because we've been concentrating so much on yield, throughput. We've not gotten too involved in safety dashboards, maintenance dashboards, costing dashboards. So now we want to fly by gauges. We want the owner to have that dashboard. What's important to you to look at in safety? What's important for you to look at in maintenance? Cost. So as soon as we get that information from him, we're going to totally drive it down to the floor. So what he wants to see is going to be different than what the operator on the floor wants to see, but we're going to make sure what the operator on the floor sees is going to drive the improvement straight up. So we're just developing simple tools. Again, don't wait to get started. Here's a safety dashboard, and then they'll start asking questions. We'll give them tools to dig deeper, go find the problems before they turn into recordable incidents, go get the near misses, go get the first aids, find out where they're at, find out what employees are being injured. Same thing for maintenance. We just got started. We're going to work with the maintenance group. It's going to be a collaborative event. We're going to find out what's important to them. We're going to make sure it rolls up to what's important to the owner, and then we'll all be on the same page, and then we'll just keep building down. Financial cost dashboard, there's not one because we're just getting started on that. And the last slides that I talk about is you can really use these tools to go after whatever you want. Now I'm going to use these tools to sell the company and say, hey, utilization also costs. When you don't utilize your equipment, it's a cost to the company. They have to pay my salary, so I really want them to use the equipment. So here, Kansas, they run identical lines as Dayton. They're microwave cook lines. When they run about 75%. The only problem is they're only utilizing the equipment 40% to 30% of the time. And then you switch over to Dayton, They run every line every day. They're 100% utilized, but they only run like a 65%. So we're missing 10% of opportunity by running by utilizing the equipment in Dayton and not utilizing more equipment in Kansas. But what we should do is use this tool now to sell to the sales group and say, go sell some more cooked bacon. We want to utilize our equipment. So, and we're just going to keep going with building tools like this. And the next thing would be, hey, let's start talking about what kind of margin you have on certain items you run on certain machines, and we'll just use these tools to sell it to the company to do the right things. So, thanks.